The SEC is back to deliver renewable, more affordable, reliable energy. We're investing in wind, solar, and storage, and supporting Victorian homes to switch to electric, helping reduce energy bills, drive down emissions, and create jobs. It's renewable energy, powering Victoria for Victorians. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Ruchika Diora, and I'm the head of product here at the SEC. I want to start off by thanking you for joining us today and acknowledging that we're coming to you from the land of the Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, acknowledging their elders past, present, and emerging, and also take a little bit of time to acknowledge that there's a lot we can learn from First People around community and environmental stewardship. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, the SEC is running a series of online to offer expert advice, which can support you in all stages of switching to electric at your home. For each session, we're joined by a series of experts who can provide really practical advice about what it means to go electric in your house and how you can save money on your energy bills. These sessions are really about helping households save money, provide practical advice, and understand the benefits of home energy improvements. If you've missed the first info session, then you can check that out online on our website on the How to Go Electric page. In this section, I'm going to share a little bit more about what the SEC is doing in this space, particularly our new electric home planner, which is currently in its pilot phase. We're developing a one-stop shop to help Victorians make the switch to electric and save money on their energy bills. I'm joined today by Kate Barnes from Solar Victoria, who'll talk a little bit about rebates and discounts that are available through Solar Victoria, the Victorian Energy Upgrades Program, and a couple of other opportunities that you can tap into. Also joining us is Anthony Igben from Specialized Solar and Electric, who'll provide some really practical advice from an installer's perspective. Specialized Solar and Electrical is one of the SEC-endorsed installers that are supporting our pilot. Thank you both for joining us today. It's really great to have you here. After our presentation, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions using Slido.com. The login details are on your screen. You can visit Slido.com and enter the code hashtag SEC1024, or you can scan the QR code as well. Right now, we're going to show you a little video on our campaign.
The SEC is supporting Victorian homes to switch to electric. You can save money while reducing emissions. Visit secvictoria.com.au. SEC, powering Victoria for Victorians. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
So let's talk a little bit about how the SEC can help you go electric at home. There's a lot going on right now in the energy sector. We've got a renewable energy transition, the cost of living is going up, and we've got electricity prices that are increasing. What it means to go electric is really about switching appliances, possibly adding solar panels to further reduce your energy bills. And there are a lot of benefits to taking your home electric, such as it's cheaper to run, it's healthier to live in, and it's better for the planet. As I said, the SEC is supporting Victorian households to switch to electric through an electric home planner that comes with an installer component, our one-stop shop, and ongoing info sessions with expert advice. SEC is supporting installers as well as the community by partnering with a variety of different groups, including Specialized Solar that's here today. We're helping consumers have confidence in their decision-making and know what their next steps should be, regardless of where you are in your journey. Our new electric home planner is really there to help Victorians support their switch to electric. And we know that switching to electric can be really complex and overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there from a lot of different sources. And as Kate and Anthony go through their presentations, you'll hear a little bit about how the one-stop shop and the electric home planner can help simplify this process for you. Our user-friendly planner calculates indicative savings and rebates on your behalf. And residents in the cities of Casey, Maribeck, and Ballarat can also use the planner to connect directly with SEC-endorsed installers, so you know you can be confident in your decision around who to go with. The process really aims to be more simple and seamless, all the way from planning for your home through to installation. And you don't have to do everything at once. You can start on your own terms. You can use this opportunity to gather some information. There are easy things that you can do first, and switching appliances can happen what's right for you, either proactively or when they break. We're going to take a little bit of time now to give you a glimpse of the planner in action. Welcome back. Now we're going to hear from Kate Barnes, who's the Executive Director of Customer and Digital Experience at Solar Victoria.
Thank you, Chica. Great to be here today, everyone. I'm looking forward to giving you an overview of some of the things that are available to you, a few tips on what programs are available, but also in how to apply and how to access them. And I'm looking forward to the questions that we get at the end of this session as well. The current offers across the Solar Homes program. We have multiple offers available to people across homes, renters, apartments and community housing. The main biggest program, we've almost reached over 300,000 installs across Victoria, which is amazing. It's over 2 gigawatts across Victoria so far since 2018. So that's a program for solar panels, $1,400 rebate, plus the optional inclusion of a $1,400 interest and fee-free loan. The other option available is around heat pumps, which are really popular right now. We get lots of questions around heat pumps and what types of heat pumps are right for me in my home. That is a $1,000 rebate with a similar eligibility criteria to the PV around income threshold of $210,000 for the property owners, and also the property must be valued at under $3 million, and you must prove property ownership. The digital pathway to apply for these rebates and loans is on our website. You can access through the program. The solar battery loan does involve a little bit more evidence and process to apply through that because it is a bigger loan, but is also interest and fee free. The Solar for Apartments program, which we're really proud of, is a pretty new program. This gives us more access to renters in being able to reap the benefits of solar in reducing their energy bills. And then the community housing program is obviously following, giving more vulnerable people access to the same rebates as other householders and renters. The eligibility criteria is really set out on our website. And the online portal that you will apply through steps you through the process of how to apply. The other thing I would note is that our contact centre is available every weekday for you to ring if you've got any problems. Even as you're going through the process, they're there to help you, guide you through the process and answer any questions that you've got. Some of the feedback we get from possibly some of you, but many of our customers, is around their confidence levels after they've applied, how happy they are with their decision. The majority of people who respond to our surveys have been very confident about their decision post it, in terms of their looking back and not regretting those decisions. But in terms of their savings, 73% of customers have saved at least or more than what they expected to save from their installation, whether it was PV, heat pump or a battery. So that's really great feedback from people. It also provides us with insight around what to change about the programs, what's working well, what's not working well. So it's great to get that feedback from everybody involved. The rebate and application process, it does look a bit busy, but the process is there to help people get through the application process, but also in decision making. And we'll talk about this a bit across all of us here today, but the complexity in decision making and feeling overwhelmed, and we're not all experts in solar. So I would encourage people not to think you have to become an expert, but just ask lots of really good questions. And I know in my personal circumstance, I spent a lot of time in the research phase. I got about 8 quotes for my PV solution. Asked lots of questions about what was Australian made and what wasn't. And so ask the questions that are important to you, but don't think you have to become the expert. You need enough confidence to trust that the solution being designed for your home meets your individual needs. So eligibility for your home, as I said before, there's an income threshold. It's $210,000 per annum for taxable income for the homeowners. The process shows you how to prove that through the online application process. And then once you've proven all of that eligibility in that online application process, you will go through an approval process, which is relatively quick. We obviously have some that fall out and need a bit more evidence or a bit more help or some more documents to to provide us, and that is through communication with us. We will work through you with that. Usually all of our applications are approved within 10 business days. Then you can work with your chosen retailer on installing, and through that process, you will get a QR code. That QR code you will use on the day of install. That gives you confidence that the person installing is approved to install, and also that your rebate is approved. And so look out for that QR code. Make sure that you've got it on hand, and that the installer has it available to be able to scan it before they commence. The last phase is really around enjoying the benefits and also understanding how you use your energy at home, and if you're going to change your behaviour and your habits to be able to use the solar you're generating during the day. So you might put your dishwasher on during the day, or time your washing machine to turn on during the day, as opposed to doing those things in the evening when your solar isn't generating. There are other incentives across Victoria. Give you a little bit of an overview around the Victorian Energy Upgrade Program and the small scale technology certificates. Those are available to certain products and certain upgrades. As a customer, you don't have to apply, and there's not an eligibility criteria as with the rebates and the loans. These are more related to approved providers and approved products that meet the energy efficiency criteria. So look out for those on your quote. Ask your retailer lots of questions around, are you eligible for those? There are eligibility criteria for heat pumps, for example, where you can be eligible for the Victorian Energy Upgrade Program and also be eligible for the $1,000 Solar Victoria rebate. So ask questions about that. The STC is an Australian government across all states, and so that will be handled in your quote, and just you don't need to calculate that, that'll be done for you. A little bit on consumer safety and benefits, and the benefits of programs like SEC and the Solar Victoria program is that we work with industry to better the industry, to work in partnership with industry so that your experience is as good as it can be. But there are also benefits to that in terms of consumer protections. So if you're using a solar retailer that's been approved by these programs, they have to meet certain criteria in terms of quality and safety. Those flow on obviously to a better outcome for customers, a safer install, a better quality install. So ensuring safety across our program is really important as well. That is part of our program, and all of our retailers and installers have signed up to certain criteria. So there's lots of resources and support out there, and it can get a little bit confusing. Our buyer's guides are really straightforward and can give you some really good tips, a few questions to ask, who to ask, where to go, depending on where you are on your journey, depending on what you're looking for, whether it's a battery or a heat pump, or solar panels or other energy efficiency products. The Victorian Energy Upgrades website also is a really great resource. There's also, don't forget, the Victorian Energy Compare, where you can pop in your energy bill and get ideas and compare your bill with other energy providers, so you can check if you're getting the best deal from your energy retailer. And then there's an optional residential efficiency scorecard where someone can come out to your home, give you an overview and provide you with an individualised scorecard, but also some advice on how best to manage and make your home more energy efficient. And that's it for me. I'm going to hand back to you, Chika.
Thanks so much, Kate. It really demonstrates just how much is available already to consumers, and the SEC Home Electric Planner is really trying to help on that research and quotation part of the journey for consumers, simplifying the process for you, and it takes into account the quotes that Kate went through, the rebates and the incentives that Kate went through as well. But now we're going to hear from Anthony, which is really exciting. He's the Managing Director of Specialized Solar and Electrical, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about what you should be asking your installer, and giving you a little bit more confidence on that part of the journey.
Hello everyone, and thank you again for having me on the panel today. First of all, I'd like to say that we are proud to be a part of the SEC's initiative to assist Victorian households to electrify their homes. Today, I'll be discussing the essential role of the installer in your journey towards electrification. Specifically, I'll cover the SEC's Electric Home Planner and how it can guide you. Provide some questions you can ask the installer, and also the expectations you should have of the installer once you engage them. So I guess what we've found, with our extensive experience in assisting households to electrify, whether it's to install solar panels or hot water heat pumps or split systems or induction cooktops, I guess the question that I've heard multiple times is, where do I start? Where can I find a credible information source to reference from? We have found that the SEC's Electric Home Planner can serve as a centralised hub for your electrification journey. It's an easy to navigate platform with the necessary information in one place. It helps evaluate your home's current energy use and identify key areas for electrification. So the key areas could be heating and cooling, upgrading your hot water system to an electric heat pump, your heating and cooling potentially for split systems, or even solar and batteries. So the SEC Electric Home Planner actually has all that in the one place, which is a really good place to start. What I have next is just some questions to ask your installer. So there's many questions you could ask, but I've put together 4 questions that I think you should add to your list. The first one is, are you accredited or endorsed? Your installer should be accredited or endorsed by programs like the SEC or Solar Victoria. This will confirm they meet required installation and quality standards for your home. So when you're dealing with an endorsed or accredited installer, they'll get access to all the specific products that are available through the VEU scheme or STCs, so you can get access to quality products and get the necessary rebates that can be applied to them as well. The second question I've got there is, what products have you recommended and why? So this question helps assess the installer's experience and whether they're tailored a solution to your unique needs and future plans. This is super important because every home is unique and everybody's situation is different. So you want to make sure that you're having these conversations with the installer and they actually understand and tailor a package to those specific needs. For instance, say you had a conversation with the installer and you wanted to add a battery in the future, but you're not really ready right now. They could design a solution where they can provide you with a hybrid inverter. So in the future, you can just plug and play a battery with no additional equipment required. The third question I've got is, what can I do to maximize the energy efficiency? So a professional installer will offer advice on how to improve your home's overall energy efficiency beyond just installing new appliances, and suggest ways to maximize the energy savings. So again, an example, say you've got an existing solar system at home and you wanted to install an electric hot water heat pump. A suggestion or a tip that I could provide for you if you're my customer is that you should run your electric hot water heat pump during the day to heat your water when your solar is generating all this free energy, to then allow you to have free hot water at night. So making the most of that investment as best you possibly could. And the last question I've got there is, can you provide customer reviews or examples of similar installations? Now, a quality installer who provides customer reviews and examples of similar projects actually shows they can deliver successful results. Speaking to past customers could also help you understand the level of service they provide post-installation. That's really important because you want to be confident that if any questions or queries arise after the installation, that they're met with the same level of care, the attention you've been provided with in the beginning. So I know this sometimes can be neglected at times, the post-installation service and support. For us, it's really important because you should have access and have the confidence to be able to speak to someone if something were to go wrong. If the product fails or you've just got this burning question, you want to be able to get access to someone that can answer that question for you really quickly and resolve that issue. So speaking to past customers will allow you to understand not only that they can install the solution that they've actually designed for you, but also provide you with the support, or you can speak to that customer that has received that support post-installation. So moving on to the next slide here. So what to expect from an installer. Now there's so many different types of examples I could provide, but today I'd just like to run through a solar installation example. So first of all, discussions with the installer about your needs. Now in this instance, you'll have a detailed discussion. It's not a 5-minute conversation. It is going to take at least, 1 or 2 conversations about your household's needs to actually design a unique solution for you. They'll ask questions like how you use electricity within your home, what you're currently using, and what you'd like to actually achieve long term. So they can either whether you want to electrify your home all at once, or if you want to do it in stages, they can tailor, a solution for that particular household. The second step is the installer will provide you with an itemized quote. So once you've had that conversation with the installer, they'll provide you with an itemized quote, which includes the products they'll provide, warranties, scope of works, and also lists the rebates that are applicable to that particular solution. So as Kate said, there's rebates available for solar PV and batteries, so that should all be itemized on your quote. In this instance, because it's a solar installation, you'll also be provided with a system design, which will actually show you where the panels are actually going to be installed on your home. So this will give you a good idea of how it's going to be installed and what the benefits are based on that specific design. The third one is accepting the quote. So once you're happy with the quote and you've done some research and all the products that have been provided for you, you'll then move forward to applying for any government rebates or payment plans. Now, any quality installer understands that you've never done this before, so they're going to provide you with the support that you need to actually complete those rebate applications as quickly as you possibly can. Yes, Solar Victoria provides great service, but as a good installer, a quality installer, they should understand that time is required to assist you to be prepared with what this rebate application is going to request of you. It's documentation, that's questions that they're going to ask. Just make you feel confident that when you jump online, you know you're going to complete it within 5 or 10 minutes, not 30 minutes to an hour and get frazzled, etc. So they'll give you the time to do that. Now, once the rebates have been approved and payment plans as such, a site inspection is actually arranged for you. So a site inspection is completed by an A-grade electrician. They'll come out, they'll measure the roof, make sure that all the panels will fit as per the design. They'll confirm locations for inverters and batteries if you decide to go that way, but also give you an opportunity to ask any questions on site about the install. Like I said, every home is unique, so you may have some questions about locations of inverters. Is there going to be external conduits? How are you going to run this? How are you going to run that? You should have the opportunity to have those conversations with them. Once that inspection's been completed, a report is sent back to, the operations team to then confirm and book in an installation. So the installation usually takes 1 to 2 days, depending on how big the project is and depending on weather, of course. But that should only take 1 day, like I said. Once they've completed that installation, they'll run through the correct operation of that system as well. So giving you an overview of the different components, inverters, panels, DC isolators, changeover switches, these types of things, just so you know how to operate the system and you're confident that when they leave, you'll be able to utilize and maintain the system. Once that's actually completed, we then action what's called an electrical inspection. This is third-party government regulated. They'll actually come out, inspect this system, and then provide us with documentation to actually send through for grid approval and grid connection. This can take 1 to 2 weeks after the installation, but ensuring that it's all done correctly is obviously priority. When we send that paperwork off to the electricity retailer, you are CC'd in on any emails that are sent to them, so you're aware of what documents were sent and when. Which is really important because unfortunately we don't control how long they take to actually switch the system on, but they'll be able to receive that paperwork and then obviously turn the system on. Once that's completed, a handover pack is then put together for you. This handover pack will include product brochures, warranty documents, serial numbers of your panels and inverters, and any service or maintenance plans that you guys have discussed. And after that, once it's all completed, you then have a fully operational connected solar system generating your own power. So the last slide I've got here for you, which is we think that the road to electrification starts with having the right resources. So like the SEC Electric Home Planner and hearing from family and friends who've already made the switch, after that, an experienced installer can then assist you to take the next step, making sure your home's transition to a future electric future is smooth and hassle-free. I hope these questions and the overview of what to expect from your installer gives you the confidence to take the first steps towards making your home energy efficient through electrification.
Thanks so much, Anthony. I learned quite a bit, and we're kind of like midway through the journey of electrifying our home. So I'm going to test a lot of those questions on our installer. So thank you for that.
No worries.
Just want to encourage everyone to submit questions via the Slido.com website. We've got them; they're flowing through pretty well now. And I might start off, Kate, with one for you, which is how long are the rebates going to go for?
We do get that question quite often. The program is a 10-year program, funded at $1.3 billion. So it is in its 6th year. We've just had our 6th birthday, which goes super fast. But what that means is we've got plenty of rebates left all the way out to 2028. And for what that means for this year is 52,000 PV rebates, 27,000 heat pump rebates, and 2,500 battery loans. And the PV rebates is with the loan top-up. The loan top-up, we get about between 65 and 70% of applicants opting in for the loan, and that saves them that additional $1,400 off the upfront cost of their PV installation. So plenty of rebates available, and the program is funded out and committed out to 2028.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, definitely get on that as an option. Anthony, so this is a really interesting one. Might test you a little bit.
Yeah.
What is the cost for a 3-bedroom home currently with gas hot water, cooktop, and ducted gas heating to change to a reverse cycle system?
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, I guess what they're really wanting to understand is how much it's going to cost to actually upgrade from a gas ducted unit to an electric reverse cycle unit. Is that right? It can range from anywhere from $15,000 to $18,000, depending on the unit that they actually choose. There are a number of different rebates that are available as well through the VEU. So depending on you, if you go with a ducted unit, which is in the floor or in the roof, or if you go with a multi-head split. So just from experience, multi-head splits can provide you with more VEEKs. But if you're like me, you don't really like the look of these internal split systems.
What's a
Multi-head split. So you really have an outdoor unit, a large outdoor unit, very similar to your split system you have at home. That's connected to multiple multi-head indoor splits. So that'll allow you to control each one of those rooms, just as simple as from a control. But then also gets you access to more VEEKs and rebates if that applies.
Great, thanks so much for that. There's a question here about how can we assess our power usage, which I might take. We're fortunate enough to live in Victoria, which means that we have smart meter and smart meter data. And there is a distinction as an energy nerd I'm going to make between power and energy and what it is that you're trying to figure out. But the best place for you to do this easily and quickly is the Victorian Energy Compare website, because if you go on there and you have a bill close by and handy, it will actually allow you to do energy comparison across 12 months for both electricity and gas. It will give you a sense of how much you're using on an annual basis, and it will also give you a list of retailers, both for energy or electricity and gas, and then you can make a decision about what's right for you and your lifestyle and your home there. So hopefully that helps. What minimum amount of solar panel wattage should I have if I also want a solar hot water heat pump and run a dishwasher and washing machine, etc. during the day?
Well, I guess it comes down to how many people are actually living in the home. So it is unique to the household. But what we find with the experience we've had so far is people are moving towards having larger systems. So anywhere from 8 to 10 kilowatts. They're trying to future-proof their homes because they are on the journey of electrification. They understand what they're currently using and then what they can actually achieve when they go all electric. And gone are the days of a traditional 6.6 kilowatt system. It's more 8, 10, and sometimes even a 13 kilowatt system.
Yeah, it's such a great point about your personal circumstance and your family and your lifestyle. So, if you've got a family of 4 with 2 teenagers, your hot water system sizing is going to look a lot different than if it's you and a partner or just you and what have you. So it really does depend on your circumstance. Kate, someone's asking if they can claim a VEU discount for installing a split system.
Yes, so the Victorian Energy Upgrade Program, as Anthony was talking to, includes single split systems, but it also includes bigger systems like you were talking about where it's a whole system ducted. And so it just depends on which option you're choosing, which is right for your home, as to how many weeks that applies is available for. But your approved provider will be the best to be able to explain that to you in terms of the options, what solution is right for your home, but also how many weeks that is available for. And there's more weeks available for bigger ducted systems.
Yeah.
Did you want to? Yeah.
Oh, no, look, there's definitely access to Veeks for split systems, your single ones and multi-head splits and larger ducted units. But as Kate said, it's a case by case. You may have an existing gas ducted unit, but you may not necessarily require to upgrade that to a ducted reverse cycle unit. You could opt for just taking care of certain bedrooms with single split systems, which can do the same job, right? And also be sometimes more efficient. So it's a case by case, and speaking to a qualified installer will then help you guide you to which solution is best suited for your home.
And also includes, if you're decommissioning gas, there's additional weeks available for that. So depending on your specific situation around that.
Yeah, what we found is most people are decommissioning the gas ducted unit and then going for a specific solution. So that in turn allows them to get access to those Veeks.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we've found that, again, it is a journey, right? And so a lot of what our electric home planner is designed to do at this phase is really start to give you some early information, get you comfortable with some of the questions, some of the appliances, what might be right for your home, and start you thinking exactly about what appliance you would want, and then connect you with an installer where you start to get into those nitty-gritty questions about, well, I've got this size family, or we're going to sell our house soon, or this is my forever home. Yeah. Help me design a system that's right for my needs. Yeah. I might take this next one. Someone's asked, what is the SEC's role in electrification, and how will the SEC work with existing government bodies such as Solar Victoria, Solar Homes, the VEU, and the Scorecard? It's a great question because there are existing programs. What we're trying to do is, again, really streamline for consumers and customers and households all of these different programs into one spot. So when you go on to the Home Electric Planner, or when you come onto our website, we have links directly to all of these programs. And we can also, in the Electric Home Planner, when you get your estimate at the end, it does include already the rebates that Kate was talking about, such as the STCs and Solar Homes Victoria, et cetera. Kate, someone is asking if Solar Victoria is looking to add a rebate to battery installs in the future, or just an interest-free loan?
Good question. We used to have a rebate for batteries. That's where the battery program started off, with a rebate. Not in the plans as far as I'm aware of. The loan program is going really well. Obviously, a rebate is more attractive for a homeowner as opposed to a loan you have to pay back. But yeah, not on the plans in this financial year in the budget. But the loan program is more popular actually than we thought it would be, and going really well.
Yeah, that's great. And Anthony, I'm super interested in this question.
Okay.
How do you decommission ducted gas heating?
Well, it depends on the specific unit as well. What we've found in some installations is that access is a key to whether we can decommission it completely or not. What I mean by that is completely is removing the existing unit outside, say, the roof. There may not be enough space to actually remove it from the roof, so we leave it in there. Well, we decommission it in the roof and cap off the gas. So as part of the VEU scheme, they do require you to take photos of the decommissioned unit. You have to make sure that it's actually non-operational, you've capped off the gas, and you've provided photos to confirm that. So it is quite easy. You do require a plumber and an electrician, depending on what kind of unit it is, but the plumber is accredited to actually cap off the gas for you.
And that's something that you'd help arrange?
Yes, that's right. So when you reach us and have a discussion about decommissioning a gas unit, we have access to plumbers and electricians. So we're like a one-stop shop, basically, where you can come and see us and we can complete the installation and decommissioning all in one.
Making it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah, as simple as possible.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for retrofitting induction cooktops into existing kitchen cabinetry? We have actually come across this a couple times.
Have you? Yeah.
Where you've got you're switching out a gas cooktop for an induction.
Yeah.
And we need to call up some OEMs, some original equipment manufacturers, and talk to them about keeping them, 60 or 90 inches, because there's a little bit of a challenge there. Have any manufacturers started making induction cooktops of the same gas cutout size, or do you have any insight into why that's happening? Not to put you under the pump.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Obviously, we've had a fair bit of experience with that recently, especially through some of our partners. 600 and 900 mil cutout spaces is usually the norm, but what we found difficult is just the access or getting from the main switchboard to the kitchen. It can be difficult at times, but there's always a way, all right? You just need to spend the time to understand what is within that way, and if we need to cut any cabinetry or anything like that. That's why talking to a experienced installer, they can ask specific questions about your home, and if you how close it is to the main switchboard, and they can determine the runs and if there's any additional cost or what have you for labour, etc.
There are also a couple of concierge services that are starting to emerge, where they'll actually take over entire project management of the circumstance. So if you need to get in a cabinetry person as well, or if you are decommissioning your gas ducted and you want someone to come in and do the painting also, you're it's somewhere in between an entire reno, and you can kind of get someone to help you.
Yeah, look, we offer similar services, okay? So we're not just a company that provides electrical services. We have access to plumbers, so they'll assist us in not only decommissioning, say, gas cooktops, but also assist with understanding the best runs as well. So cabinetry, we do have access to some of those trades, right? But depending on the household itself, they may have their own connections that they would like to use to ensure that it's within the scope of works that they have there.
Yeah, it's just about providing people with choice, right? Exactly, right? Agency and choice.
Well, somewhere to start, right? They just want to ask questions and figure out, is this going to be a difficult installation for me? Is it going to be costly? And usually when we have our face-to-face discussions, they are asking about the cutout specifically. And, I've got a stone benchtop. Can I actually install an induction cooktop there? Unfortunately, the answer is no. You can't actually install an induction cooktop in a stone benchtop due to silica rules. But in most households, you can change over a gas cooktop to an induction one.
Yeah. Can I claim a VEU and a SolarVic discount for hot water heat pumps?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
That's a good question. We do get that quite often. A lot of the approved heat pumps on the Solar Victoria program overlap with the Victorian Energy Upgrades program. And so, yes, there are quality heat pumps that you can get. You can access both subsidies through.
All right. This is going to be another nitty-gritty one a little bit. I've been told I will need three-phase power.
If you're electrifying your home?
Yes.
Again, a case by case. If you're a traditional...
Let's start with what is three-phase power, maybe, and what is single-phase.
Yeah, well, single-phase power is traditionally for households that usually have a 63 amp supply provided, okay? When you have three-phase power, obviously you're going to have more power provided to the household for them to run more items, right? The question that you had there was, do I require a three-phase upgrade if I'm going to electrify my home? Again, case by case, usually you don't require a three-phase upgrade, especially if you've done the assessment on the existing loads that are in the home. Like I said before, a 63 amp supply is coming in. If you tally up all those circuit breakers in your switchboard, it's definitely going to exceed 63 amps, which means that you're not running all the things at once. So the reason why that usually comes up, that question, is the last thing to be changed over is an induction cooktop, all right? And they do draw a fair amount of power, but that's based on all the hobs running at once. Now, if you're like most households, you're only using one or two of these, cooktops or hobs. So in turn, you're never really going to exceed that unless you exceed that 63 amp supply, unless you're running the whole house at once. So you've got heating, cooling, you've got, your dishwasher running, your washing machine, and, 4 or 5 hobs running, depending if it's a 600 or 900. then that's obviously then going to cause an issue with not being able to provide the supply you're after.
I think the other thing, and I'm not encouraging this, but I would just say that what will happen is your supply will trip.
Correct.
Right? That's what will happen. You'll just have to reset. So if that's something that, again, accidentally, I think we all maybe run one too many hair dryers or, things at the one time, your safety switch will trip. And then you just reset that and you turn off a couple of appliances and you're fine.
Yeah, I think it's starting with the education side of things, all right? Speaking to an electrician that can actually walk you through understanding what's being used within your home and how much power it uses, right? When you have that foundation of understanding, you can then make that decision, am I really going to be conscious about what I'm using, or do I just want to use whatever I want whenever to then be able to fully electrify my home and not worry about the power tripping, right? Absolutely. So yeah, it's all about education, I feel, at the start and asking those questions.
100%. Kate, are there any subsidies for pensioner households?
Yes, so our Solar Homes program and the VEU program is available to many households, but specifically pensioners, we've introduced into our application process just a few easier steps in the process for people on Centrelink for pension cards, for example, concession cards, those types of things. So you don't have to prove the income eligibility multiple times to access government rebates. You've already got a Centrelink proven income, so we use that as a proxy for your eligibility. The other thing I would say is for our program, even though our income threshold is $210,000, majority, or kind of over 30%, I think the percentage is, of our applicants are earning under $100,000 in their household. And a lot of that percentage is either pensioners, zero income, self-funded income. And so it is definitely open to pensioners. And then the other programs that help along vulnerabilities is the Solar for Apartments program, where renters are able to access the benefits of solar depending on the apartment they're living in, and also the community housing program, obviously for social housing, can access the most vulnerable of renters.
Yeah, that's great. This one may be for both of you, but probably Kate in the initial instance. Regarding energy usage, how can I see what the appliance electricity usage is and how much my solar usage is, so that if I change my behavior and use a dishwasher or other appliances during the day, I make sure that I'm using my solar and not drawing from the grid? I think it just builds off of the app and the device for that's related to the solar installation or the inverter.
And you'll have a better technical answer to this, but I think as a kind of a layman's, what I would use with my app is understanding if I've turned the dryer on, and I'll watch it. Yep. So it won't necessarily tell me that's the dryer, but I'll know that I've just put the dryer on, for example. There are other monitoring apps, I think, that can do individual appliances, but that's the way I use it in my home, is to understand from those monitoring apps, watching my power usage depending on what I've turned on and off.
Yeah, you can also get a Power Pal as well, and we did a little experiment, and it's the kettle. It's always the kettle, yeah. and it's just like this huge draw of power immediately, and it's cool to watch. But I don't know, Anthony, do you have anything to add to that?
No, it's very similar to what Kate said. With quality solar installations, they come with an energy management system. So that'll give you an understanding of what the solar is actually generating, also what you're consuming of that solar generation, and also what you're exporting to the grid. This will give you real-time data. So if you do turn something on, like a kettle or a toaster, something like that, you'll see, hey, there's a big spike, and you can pinpoint, okay, these are the high users of electricity within my home, and then start to manage your usage.
That's great. This one's come through. It says, I'm mainly concerned about the cost after rebate. Is it worth it? I'm thinking of converting my existing gas water to electric heat pump, and maybe my gas central heating to electric. But depending on out-of-pocket expenses, there's a lot of confusing information in companies handling this. This is exactly what we're trying to do with the Electric Home Planner, is provide you with an indicative understanding of what the effectively return on investment for you regarding different appliances for your home might be. So if you go onto the website and you access the planner, you can enter in either a ducted heating system, and your hot water system and adding solar, or if you're just interested in understanding what the cost and then potential savings are for just your hot water system right now, you can choose just that. And it'll give you an estimate of what your personalized savings might look like, and then what the out-of-pocket cost might look like. That includes all of the rebates that we've talked about here today. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with the SEC Electric Home Planner. How can consumers educate ourselves on switchboard upgrades and if and when they're necessary? This is slightly different than when we talked about three-phase power and upgrading, but in addition to that, are there any like websites? I mean, you mentioned we shouldn't need to become an expert. What do you think the best way is of handling that?
I guess relying on your quality installer. Asking those questions, they can give you some insights on the experience they have with switchboards. The biggest thing is that if you are going to install the solar system and all these other electrification products, if you have a look at your existing switchboard and you can only see there's 3 poles available, it's usually going to require a switchboard upgrade, right? But sharing photos of your switchboard to your qualified installer, they can determine what is available for you to upgrade and if it's required, and costs as well. Okay, so space is usually a big issue when it comes to switchboards. If you have an old school switchboard in the meter box and you've got to lift it up, there's only limited space there. You can only have maybe 18 to 24 pole switchboard. And most of the time, if it's an older home, a lot of those switchboards are at full capacity. So just understanding where there's other locations to have subboards and what have you, rely on your qualified installer. They'll be able to guide you in obviously the best practices and options available.
I mean, we're living in the future, right? It doesn't even require a visit to your home. You can just take a picture and email it through, and someone can provide you with some pretty fulsome advice on your unique circumstance, which is kind of awesome. Yeah. How do we understand the right pricing for installation of different assets? Is there a way to understand whether or not our quotes are at the right market price without actually getting different installers to give different individual quotes? That's a tough one. Yeah, go for it.
I think it's not just about the product itself. It's about the solution, right, and the service you're going to provide. So the amount of information you can gather from the installer, like Kate said before, you've got to trust them. You've got to trust the advice. You've got to trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do and provide you with that service afterwards. And each solution is unique to one's household, right? So what's right for you may not be right for your neighbor. And they might not like the product that you're choosing because of the brand or, the bells and whistles. Some want all the bells and whistles and some just want the basics, right? So I guess it's having that conversation with the installer to see what options are available and what fits with you, and what you're comfortable with. And then, move forward with whatever you decide within the end.
Absolutely. It's very specific. Where is Specialized Solar and Electrical base, and how long have you been in business?
So we're based in Lynbrook, just off the South Gippsland Highway. We've been in business since the 2000s. So we've been offering electrification solutions for the last 15 years. It's been a huge, learning curve over the last 5 years, especially with electrification coming into play. Previously it was just solar and batteries. Now people are wanting to talk about electric vehicles. They want to talk about induction cooktops, heating and cooling systems, and all the likes. So it's been a journey to get to here, and we're really proud to be, a part of programs like the SEC and be accredited by Solar Victoria, because it gives us all the tools to be able to provide the right solutions to the customers and also the incentives that are available for them as well.
We are getting really cool in the questions now. Are there any assistance programs towards neighbourhood batteries or microgrids that you're aware of?
Yeah, so the Victorian Government has a community battery program. So organisations who have a community battery project can apply for a grant via energy.vic. I think it's open right now. The grants are open. They close at the end of this month. I think we're in round 2. So those people or projects that are up and running in communities have access to those. The types of organisations can be not-for-profits. They can be small government organisations, community organisations. So jump on the energy.vic website and have a look at the eligibility criteria, but it's open right now.
Yeah, I think it's great that the government is definitely looking at supporting those types of initiatives. So really home, network, larger scale across the board. This is a great one, actually. I'm really loving this one. If I'm looking to buy a home, which is an existing build, what are some things I need to be aware of so that my purchase is ideal for electrification?
I think the biggest one is switchboards. Yeah, I think if you can understand what is actually there prior to purchasing, you can determine if there's any additional costs required to electrify your home. Access to the roof is a big one too, and the type of roof. Terracotta tiles, yes, you can install them, but it takes a little bit extra time to install them because they are brittle. Double story, those types of things. The main thing that I would look out for is the switchboard, and just enough roof space for solar. You know, solar is probably the gateway to electrification. You know, it creates your own energy source for then you to be able to provide or change over any gas appliance within your home to go electric, and then basically utilize the free energy you're generating from your solar to run your home. So ensuring that it's got enough space, you know, for solar and a decent size, not just a 5 kilowatt or something 8 to 10, will then allow you to be well equipped for electrification.
That's right. Anything to add, Kate?
In terms of buying a new home?
Yeah.
I wouldn't add anything more to that, but I do want to take notes because I might have to listen back to this later.
Yeah, I might just add there are a couple things that I would keep an eye out for, and that's really around what we call like the thermal shell of the building. So I'd be looking for high star windows. I'd be looking for insulation. I'd be looking for existing draft proofing. And these are all things that you can actually access through the VEU programs and some other government programs as well. But the rationale behind that is you can install solar and put in a great electrified home. But if it's all just leaking out through your windows and your doors, you're not going to save any money on your energy bills. So these are actually some really low cost ways of driving down your energy bills to begin with. It's a really easy way to start down the journey of electrification. Anyways, it's just by understanding how secure your house is when it comes to the airflow.
I think, as Kate brought up before, the scorecard assessments are a really good first point of call when, specifically if you are looking at a new home. That'll give you an understanding of what that thermal home is, and then provide you with some tips and steps to actually get it to what it requires to be for a 7-star rating.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of our homes are actually around that 2-star rating right now, and it's pretty common with older builds also.
It'd be good to actually see those scorecard assessments be mandatory for any new homes that are being sold, because then it can give the person that's purchasing the home an understanding of the base to work from, and then from there, it's separate to someone trying to sell you something. It's
Objective context for
Independent.
how.
it's
Yeah,
independent,
absolutely.
and some really great people out there that provide scorecard assessments. So you can basically get them for free these days. So getting that advice at the start will then obviously put you on the right direction, when making a decision on a new home.
That's a great segue into this next question, which is around how to cut through the supposed cheap and free installs that exist on either social media or some other channels, and to know how much products would actually cost if someone's, and when we're talking about a free VEU assessment, it's a really distinct experience, and we're not talking about the product itself. This is someone coming to your home and doing a review of existing appliances and structure, and that's something that's supported by the government. But is there a way that you would recommend to kind of cut through and make sure that you're getting a quality product, as opposed to one of just the cheapest or no frills kind of option?
Yeah, and I think that's that old saying, you kind of get what you pay for, and is cheap the best? And we hear a lot of these questions across our programs and our contact centre as well around, I've been offered a zero cost option. The other thing I would say is be really careful around pushy or time-based decisions. If you're feeling pushed or pressured into decision, that's not the type of retailer you want to go with. The experience you have up front is probably the experience you're going to get in after the install as well. If you need help or you need anything fixed afterwards, if you've had that experience up front, then it's likely that it's not going to get any better. So yeah, I would be wary of cheap. But yeah, the question is, how can you tell what's cheap and what's quality? And I think that is about asking lots of questions and getting multiple quotes that compare different products.
Yeah, and also relying on resources such as the SEC and Solar Victoria that have really good blogs and steps to take to actually confirm, what products are quality and what not. My Energy Efficient Home page, have you seen that on Facebook? That is a fantastic resource by Tim Forsey. There's a lot of people there that have experienced what we're trying to go through, which is electrifying their homes. You can get a good understanding of, what products have been installed and why they've chosen them, and also installations. Right? So that's another thing that should be considered. It's not just about the product; it's how it gets installed. If it's not installed correctly, you're not going to get the maximum benefit out of that system or the life out of the system if it's not installed correctly.
Absolutely. And you want someone who's going to be around for a little while in case you have any concerns or questions. You can, like you mentioned, you can call them back. Well, we're starting to wrap up, but I do have a last question for each of you, and that's if you could pick one thing for people to walk away with today, what would that be?
You're looking at me. I'll go first. Just on that last conversation, really, is avoid deals that look too good to be true. Avoid businesses that use pressure or time-based decision-making around urgency. These programs are not running out the door. They're available. So you can take your time to find a retailer that you can trust who will answer your questions and take the time, as Anthony said, to answer all of your questions. Ask your neighbours and friends. So get lots of advice, but don't get too overwhelmed. I got into a little bit of analysis paralysis with my decision, and it did take me quite some time to actually get there in the end. But after multiple quotes and comparing a few different quotes, the confidence came from actually speaking to the people directly and the time they took to answer my questions. So look for online reviews, get advice. There are tips on our website as well, things like tips for peace of mind in the buyer's guide sections on the website. So there's questions there that you can prepare yourself with.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, I think I'll just finish on just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If something doesn't make sense to you or you want it to be clarified, be confident and comfortable enough to say, what does that actually mean? Okay, because if you have a quality installer that wants to take the time to ensure that you've got a future-proof solution, they'll provide you with the time to answer those questions. So yeah, ask questions and just start. I think that's probably the biggest thing, because there's so much overwhelming information out there. It can be difficult to just go, is this the right thing? Should I start? But there's enough information, especially with the SEC and Solar Victoria and retailers like ourselves. We can guide you, to make those informed decisions.
That's great, thanks. The only thing I would add to that is that, this is your home, it's your choice, it's your agency. You have to do what's right for you at the time that's right for you. And we're just here to provide you advice to help you feel confident in those decisions. I want to thank our guests for taking the time out of their day to provide this information to us and to all of you. We do have a couple of sessions that are coming up that might be a little bit shorter and that are really sharp around heat pump hot water systems and heating and cooling and induction. So you can register your interest on those next sessions on our website. And if you haven't done so already, as Anthony mentioned, visit our website. We've got links to all of the information available through government programs in one place. It's a great place to start, secvictoria.com.au. And we really look forward to working collaboratively with you as households on the energy transition. This is how you are a part of this transition for all of us here in Victoria and across Australia. So thank you so much. I think we've got one last video that we're going to show you about our experience at the home show recently. And I look forward to seeing you at another event.
From the SEC, and we're here today at the Melbourne Home Show to talk to as many people as we can about going electric at home. We've got a fantastic new electric home planner that helps take the guesswork out of going electric. Electric homes are cheaper to run, healthier to live in, and better for the planet.
The SEC Electric Home Planner was really easy to use. Actually, it was really simple. We just went through the questionnaire and picked the type of heating, cooling, cooking, hot water service, and you can just, pick from one of the options. And it calculated what kind of savings we could get if we switched to an electric system and could put us in touch with people that can help us do that.
I've looked at your tool and you looked at your questionnaire, very useful to navigate through, and it tells you clearly, right at the end there, what the remaining steps are and how you'll benefit.
The planner effectively asked what our address is, what type of appliances we have, and then it stepped us through what the potential savings would be.
The planner did put me in touch with an installer in our local area, and it's Casey, so apparently there's a pilot program, which is going to be really interesting. We were planning to go more electric. This will probably bring our timeline up a bit because I didn't realise how easy it could be.
We've just converted quite a lot of those things here that I just said recently, and we already see quite a lot of savings there.
So I would recommend the SEC Electric Planner to my family and friends. I think it's a great tool.
We're partners with the SEC and we've been launching the Home Energy Planner. It's fantastic. There's been so many people that have come through and asked about what should they do in their electrification journey, and it's so nice to have that conversation and turn around and tell them that there is a simple and easy way to get an understanding of what their energy efficiencies are and their savings just simply by putting your details in the system. So there's been such a great response today and we've had such a good time. Also, it's nice to help people understand that electrification is not something that happens overnight. It's definitely a journey, and we're here to assist them on that electrification journey and do things as a staged approach.